All right, this is recording. Awesome. This is I decided I was initially not going to record this meeting because we're not doing a normal Helpie meeting today. It's going to be a I don't even know, emergency meeting. I don't know if that's the right word for it. But we are going to talk about everything that's going on regarding the Steem blockchain, the last information we've received, and maybe try to put off some fires because there's a lot of people spreading misinformation, and I think
we'll be shilling the hard fork.
Yeah, we're gonna shill the hard fork. But let's get the first things out of the way, which are obvious. I don't want to be this Steem cheerleader that doesn't speak truth. I want to be the first things out of the way. No doubt is that this was not a optimal successful deployment. Nobody can make that argument. The conversation does need to be balanced. I am not going to sit here and say, look, oh my god, guys, everything was perfect, oh my god, I love it, like, weren't you excited? I completely understand, sympathize, and empathize with everybody's frustration, everybody's anger at the moment, because there is 100 different things we could have done better in order for this to be a lot easier for everybody. I agree with that. Now, I'm saying this to you guys, and I'm putting this on a recording because I think it's important that we take this as an opportunity to learn, and I think it's important that we are ready for the next time, and we don't easily forget, because obviously what has happened now should be enough for everybody that is involved on the politics on the platform to want to be even more involved, and somebody who is not involved to say, okay, next time I am going to make my voice heard, I am going to participate. And of course there's different levels of participation, different, depending on who you are, if you're an investor, if you're a whale, if you're a minnow, if you're a witness. But the truth of the matter is, and I'm going to say something that it's not going to sound too nice, but most of the people that are complaining are completely uninvolved with the platform. They're just here for the upvotes, and I think that's kind of sad and a little pathetic. Like, I've on purpose been seeing some of the people that complain the most, and I've been looking at their accounts, and some of them don't even vote for a single witness. So I find it kind of hypocritical, and that is the word I'm going to use, to demand things from witnesses when you don't even have the desire to learn what it is that they do, and support or not support one over the other. It's kind of funny, it's kind of like, I don't even know if the word is hypocritical. I think it's dumb, though. It's like, you're not involved, you've never been involved, but right now it's like, come on guys, you have to you fix it. And I think that's kind of ridiculous. So if there's something that we need to walk away with, is that if somebody is not involved with that aspect on the Steem blockchain, if somebody doesn't understand what witnesses do, if somebody doesn't understand why they should be voting and selecting the witnesses, we need to bring them into the fold. I think in Helpie, for the most part, everybody that is here understands, I think, I could be wrong, why it's important to be knowledgeable on this stuff and why you should be involved. I think everybody here gets it. But if you are here and you kind of been postponing understanding this, and maybe it's not going to be for anybody who is on the hangout with us right now, but somebody who could be listening later. If you're here and you're postponing, it's like, well, I don't really get the whole witness thing. Well, I think the excuses are up. Like, that's it. Now you need to know what's going on and why you need to care. So with that out of the way, let's talk about the difference between, and what Tariko just said, being constructive and not destructive, and which is my pet peeve on this whole thing. Do I think that Steem Inc. needs to hear what we have to say? Yes, 100%. I really do. I think that a lot of people have been voicing some great ideas that we should implement in order for us to not have to go through this ever again. I agree with that 100%. But there is something to be said about the way that we are doing this. And the reason why I say that is because I see people that are just straight out insulting Steem Inc. They're calling it stink, and I can get that as a joke, and I get it. And maybe if it happens in chat, maybe we can just brush it off, like, oh yeah, you guys are just being funny. But there is some lack of logic when I go into, and this is happening, by the way, so it's not me, Menno, being crazy. When I go into the Steem blog, right, I call them stink, I call them stupid, then I put a picture of a knife telling that Ned should kill himself, and that's a witness, by the way, that did that, and then get angry because they don't listen to us, to the constituency. Because Steem Inc. does whatever whatever it is they're going to do, and they don't hear our feedback. I don't think I have to explain why that is so ridiculous, that we are not acting like grown-ups, and that some people are participating of quote unquote the conversation in such a toxic way, because like, do you think we're going to be taken seriously? Like, we're going to be taken serious if that is how we are participating of the conversation? If we go to the Steem blog and we call Ned an idiot and we tell him that he should kill himself? Like, of course not. So what we are doing, and I'm not pointing fingers to anybody here, honestly. I haven't seen anybody here do this. I'm just putting this on a recording because I think it needs to be said. What we are doing is alienating a lot more the connection between Steem Inc., the company that started this blockchain, and then us, the Steemians. So we're making it... no, Ned didn't pay me to say anything, Ron. We're making it even more difficult for us to have this conversation. There is a process, of course, that you should be able to follow to be able to reach them. But, yeah, I guess Soup got me. But it usually goes something like this, okay? If you have some really good idea, something that you think could be done and implemented, well, the conversation probably needs to happen with witnesses that you know, that you respect. You can write some awesome posts with some ideas, some constructive ideas. And if you forward that to witnesses and the ideas are good, then they in turn will probably reach to Ned directly, because some of them do have that connection, or indirectly through another witness of some sort. But what doesn't help at all also is all these posts I keep on seeing of the end of times that are happening right now. The prophets of doom, as I call them, they're out, and a few of them I'm disappointed, I have to say. A few of the prophets of doom I never thought they would become prophets of doom, and here they are being prophets of doom, saying,
I haven't seen any.
yeah, I'm not even gonna mention, because a few of them we know them, they've been here with us in audio and everything, and they're calling for the end. And I think that's kind of ridiculous. Some things happened today earlier on Steem UA. Some fights, some angry comments back and forth. Some people are like, it's crazy. It's like, this is a time where the community should be coming together, and people are eating each other up, and it's pretty stupid. So the intention of today's little meeting is to dispel some of the misinformation, some of the wrong things that are being put out there. That first of all, I think we have to start as to why did we have to hard fork? Did we have to hard fork? And then we're gonna move on to what is actually happening with. Yes, exactly. Crimmy's saying it. Yeah, the whole fuck the top 20, fuck Ned is not wrong, but it's also a mob mentality. We need a better communication. That's exactly it. It's not that I don't think we could do better. Of course I do, but that mob mentality needs to stop. There's actually a post that Follow BTC News, which, if you guys don't know, that's a partner with Creamy on the Witness, made, that I think is extremely reasonable, and I think that's exactly how we fix this. That by having that kind of conversations and that kind of attitude towards Steem Inc. is how we fix it. We implementable ideas. That is how you do it. Okay, so how long do we need for a testnet? This is how much time we should be doing it. Can we have a better way to communicate with lower rank witnesses? Can there be a specialized witness channel so that they know what's going on? That is a productive way of doing it. But the whole fuck the top 20, fuck Ned, it's all a scam attitude that some people have is just disgusting. Really, I'm disappointed. But anyways, let's start from the beginning. Why do you think? And I'm gonna ask you guys, and maybe anybody who wants to answer can. Why do you think we needed to hard fork? What's the reason for it? Winston, do you want to try to answer that one? And take your best guess, because you might know, you might not know, and that's okay. Why did we need to hard fork? Because some people are saying that hard forking is stupid and we should never have done it. So that to me says that somebody is not informed, and that's okay. Why did we need
Yeah,
to hard
so
fork?
I don't know exactly, but I know it's got to do with trying to heal the reward mechanisms on a Steemit. So there was something with the dust votes and something about combating bot misuse and the SBD depth imbalance needed to be cleared. So
Yeah, there's something like that.
Creamy, how do you call it? Summarizes it at making it a fairer calculation on the blockchain.
Yeah. So, yeah, you said some things now that are 100% true. The way that software normally works, and I don't code anymore. I used to code, so I know a couple of things. Of course, I'm nowhere near the geniuses that code for this blockchain, but I understand the some of the logic behind it, and maybe Ronan can comment too, because I think he's also like a bit of a nerd like me. The way that you do software, like, and this is just so everybody gets a basic understanding of how it works, is that usually software gets updated by teams of people, and it gets updated very slowly. Meaning that if you release a version of a software, let's say we're just going to make a stupid example, and you make it 0.0.1, and that's your alpha, and then the next one's going to be 0.0.2 alpha, another alpha version, then you go into betas and you're in 0.1.6 or whatever, and you track it with 3 digits. That is how it's normally done, and you get out of beta once you go into the first version, which is would be 1.0.0. Now, why is it done slowly? It's because software gets extremely complicated, right? And most of the time you have teams of people that are developing for the software. It's not one person, because it's almost impossible to do, and they tackle different sections. Now, because we are human and we make mistakes, the idea of upgrading slowly is that if we implement one of those mistakes, by mistake, of course, we don't struggle so much to correct it. That is basically the idea. So if you guys are not aware, you might know this already, Steem has forked a bunch of times. That's why we call it hard fork 19, because we have forked 19 times prior to this 20th one. And if you would think about that, that is pretty crazy. Like, wow, how many currencies out there can say they've upgraded? Let's use that word for now, just because right now we could swap it 19 times or 20 times now. Not a whole lot of currencies can say that, and the reason why they can't say that is because a lot of the currencies out there, even the ones that we jokingly say are awesome, like Doge, for example, don't actually have an active development team. They don't. That means that whatever it is that they are right now is whatever it is that they're going to remain, and that's it. Now, a few of them, it's they don't care, because they're not really here for the long run. They're not here for nothing great is going to happen to them, which is kind of funny. They're just speculative vehicles, and because they are speculative vehicles with not much in the ways of a roadmap, who cares about scalability? And I'm going to go ahead and use that word. Who cares about the scalability? They don't care, because the whole point of those tokens, of those currencies that don't have any more development to them, is just for people to gamble, because that's what it is, for people to buy and sell. That's the whole purpose of those tokens. This is not the case for Steem, like, at all. And because it's not the case for Steem, that's why it's had so many upgrades, so many forks. Now, at every single fork, when Steem first started, if you go look at the history, and it's all on GitHub, so you don't really have to believe what Menno is saying. You can go check this out yourself. You can see that at the beginning of Steem, the forks were happening very consistently. Almost like every month there was a brand new fork. And you would say, well, that's crazy. That means that they were upgrading every month. Were they messing up every month? Yes. They were making mistakes every single month, and they were correcting the mistakes every single month and trying new things, trying to dial in something that made the most sense. Now, this changed. I don't know exactly why, and maybe it's not relevant to find out why it changed, but all of a sudden, for almost a whole year, right? Nobody, and I say nobody because it's not just Steemit Inc. Nobody proposed a new fork. Nobody was working on anything else for a whole year. We didn't fork. We didn't do any upgrades to the network. I think we upgraded maybe 1 week or 2 weeks after Follow BTC News started, if I read the dates correctly, which is kind of crazy. So even Follow BTC News, which was a witness when I joined, he had not even experienced a fork, and I'm thinking, man, that's how long it's been. So for over a year, we didn't have a fork. Now, what happened on this particular fork, this upgrade, is that they basically bundled up a bunch of different things into one fork. So instead of us moving from maybe 19.6 to, 0.19.6 to 0.19.7 to 0.19.8, like as maybe would have been better to do, actually, I'm not gonna say maybe, it would have been better to do that. They made a lump, right? They made a lump of upgrades, and went with a gigantic change from the get-go. Now, yes. So if they would have, I think if they would have gone slower, we could have avoided so many mess ups, really. But what's done, it's done. So they skipped a bunch of them and implemented so many things on these changes that it is. I don't think it was reasonable to expect that we weren't going to have mistakes. I think it was reasonable. They even knew it, and if you guys read the Steem and Block Communications, they expected some errors. That was expected. Now, obviously, I think some of those errors could have been, even if we were to have done such a big upgrade like that, they could have been done, a lot better. A lot of those things could have been done better. And there's actually a few posts. One of them, like I told you, Follow BTC News shared. You're welcome to read it. There's another one, Reggae Muffin shared. You're also welcome to read that one. Can somebody drop those links on here? Because I think they're must reads for people that want to get involved with this stuff. Let me see if I can do it. I don't know if I'm the one that's got the computer the easiest. So this is actually something that Reggae Muffin shared. Awesome. Thank you so much, Agent Knowledge. That's actually a great post for you to read. It is very reasonable, everything that he's talking about. And also the Follow BTC News shared. Now here,
it's actually my shill for tonight. And one of the comments I'll be making on it is, after you read the post, read through the comments. There are a lot of witnesses who commented on that post with some other good ideas. So don't just stop at the post.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Tariko. That's also a very good post to read. So one of the purpose of it, because I'm not going to get crazy into the details of this post, I really want you guys to read it, and it's worth every line, is that your witnesses, the ones that everybody is angry with right now, are working on this. They are trying to make this be a lot better next time. And I just said something that might scare some other people. They're like, what do you mean next time? Yeah, I'll give you guys the good news and the bad news. The bad news is we're gonna fork again. I don't know exactly when. And that's also the good news. That's the bad news, and that's the good news. Now, I want to explain something, because I was doing a little meeting today in Spanish, and I understood when I was having that meeting that maybe they didn't understand what actually happens when a fork of a blockchain occurs. So they think it's like, what does that mean? Well, this is the best way I can explain it, and it's the easiest way for everybody to grasp it. Imagine that we were running a database, right, for whatever period of time. That was a database, right? And then we made a copy of that database. We added more information to the cells, think about it like cells of the database, and then we abandoned the old database. The old database is dead, and now we're all operating on a brand new one. So, and the reason why it's important to understand that is because there are some out there who say, and I guess this is lack of information, and it doesn't matter. That's why we're here, to have this conversation. Why don't we just go back to 19.7? No, we can't. That's because that's a whole point of how a blockchain works. Already transactions have happened. I'm calling it database, but that's ignorant to say. It's a blockchain, has new transactions. It's not the same blockchain. You see what I mean? So we can't just go back. It doesn't work like that. And there is something to be said about why not reverting or not being able to revert is crucial. And that is, I'm going to use that word. It is crucial for cryptocurrencies to be worth anything. Because let me ask you guys a question, a hypothetical. What would the quality of immutable be, right? If it wasn't immutable, we're going to go, cryptocurrencies are great because they're immutable. Nobody can change them. Oh no, yeah, but go ahead, guys, and change it.
Yeah, there was the whole Ethereum Classic debate years ago.
Exactly. Some people don't know that. So if we were just able to hit like a reset button and then go back, that would make the Steem token, the Steem blockchain, worthless. I just said that, and I'm not a prophet of doom. But if you were able to just go, no, let's just go back to the other one, guys. All right, let's do it. That would mean that the most important thing, which is the immutable blockchain, is not immutable. And what would that do to the trustless system that we have? I don't even know. Psychologically, I mean, it would make me go like, what do you mean? Like we just reverted? So, like it would make me doubt what it is that we're doing. So it's important that we understand that. So anybody who's saying let's go back to 19, that's misinformation. Like that's not misinformation. That person's uninformed. It cannot be done. We are in hard fork 20. Continuity is key. Without continuity, we don't have a blockchain. Like call it whatever else, but it's not a blockchain. It's not a cryptocurrency. So we are in hard fork 20. We're moving on. We're moving forward. Now, going back to the steps that we need to be taking from now on, or the things that are going to happen from now on, are basically, obviously everybody needs to be participating of the political aspect of Steem. That's one. But number two, and I think more importantly, is that I believe, and this is my opinion, but anybody can disagree, that everybody in this server and everybody that participates in MSP could also do their share, and of course voluntary, to spread some actual information onto the blockchain. So when you see people saying crazy things, maybe drop a link to the right information. When you see people being negative, maybe drop a link or maybe make a comment, because this kind of works like it's a domino effect. That's the best way I can explain it. So somebody comes out there and starts saying some really ignorant stuff, and I'm going to use the word, screw it, ignorant stuff. And I've actually seen some reputable people, quote unquote, saying some really ignorant stuff. And then comes a little minnow, and I'm trying to give you perspective on this whole thing, and they say, well, so and so said that, and so has been here for like a year, so oh shit, we're going to zero. And then another minute goes like, oh, that we're talking about this. And then the whole thing just spreads like a domino effect. And we are basically allowing fear, uncertainty, and doubt to take over the blockchain. And that actually hurts the valuation of the token. Because if people start freaking out and they start selling because they're freaking out, what do you think is going to happen to the valuation of the token? It's going to go down. So knowledge is the only FUD killer. People need to understand what's happening and that everything's going to be fine, because it really is, and why we are doing, or why we did what we did. So with that said, let's talk about the thing that's on everybody's mind, and I want to make sure you guys understand it completely, because I think there's a particular part of the communications of Steem and Block that everybody seems to gloss over. The concern right now, or the thing that is making everybody nuts, is this whole idea, and this is the misinformation that is being spread, that this blockchain all of a sudden became for the rich, only for the rich. Eon, can you talk for a second? Is your microphone working? The rules. Eon, no, you cannot. Okay. Winston, since you already been talking, let me ask you. Did you already see those comments that all of a sudden that's it, that what this blockchain wants, and I'm not trying to feed into this idea because we're going to dispel it right now. What the blockchain wants, what the whales want, is for minnows to pay to play. Like, have you seen that already?
No, I haven't seen that specifically, but I've seen people complaining that now all of a sudden following people costs resource or something like that.
Yeah,
but not...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So they're saying like, oh my God, there's actually a dolphin who is a friend of mine, pretty big dolphin too, saying that, okay, that's it. This blockchain is going to zero.
Yeah, but that's stupid complaints.
Complaints. But where does it? Let's dispel that notion. Do you think? And let me just ask you, and then I'm going to ask you some questions. I hope you don't mind me using you. I know you're not saying that. And then we're going to explain why it's not true. But do you think that anybody that has freaking two neurons put together is going to think, oh, you know what we need to do? We need to make sure only rich people are here. Do you think that's a good business model?
No, of course not. The reverse is necessary, and that's what they're working on as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
So I don't know how everybody else sees it, and there's
Yeah.
multiple ways to view this, because I also know that there's some people who really rely on the $50 per post they get a day. But for me, it's been like I haven't been worried for even a minute. Only right in the beginning, when everything went back to zero after the first vote, I had a fleeting moment. Hey, what's this about? But then Creamy is here, and she explained it beautifully. After the first vote, you go back to zero, and then it's going to build up again. And after a while, it's going to be back to normal. And we're now 2 days further, and I have the feeling mine is back to normal almost. So I really don't see what the big thing is.
Yeah, 100%.
One vote now costs me 2.5% like it used to, and I see a very, very slight resource cost used when I follow someone. But it's all the resource cost is you always have a surplus when it's rebuilt. So there's nothing to worry about as far as I'm concerned.
Nothing to worry about. Okay, so let's dispel that notion. Oh, somebody was going to say something?
Yeah, I was asking something. I listen too many times in these days that we suffer pay to win upgrade. I want to know if that is not true, right? I think a couple of changes in the .rc and mana balance, but I want to know what can I say to that people that are telling to other people that kind of misinformation affirmation.
I'm going to go into detail of this stuff so that everybody just gets a really clear idea of what's going on right now. So we're going to make it very clear and simple to understand. So at no point in time, this is a hard fork 19, and prior to that, as far as I know, was operating on the Steem blockchain something that did not require spending bandwidth, or like because resource credits are another word for bandwidth. Before we were in hard fork 20, we had something called bandwidth, and the idea behind bandwidth is to be able to curve, not completely eliminate because you can't, spam. That means that if you wanted to create a lot of transactions on the blockchain, you had to have Steem power. And the only reason why blockchains do this, and that's very important to understand, is to avoid blockchains being brought to their knees. If there was absolutely no restrictions to the usage of a blockchain, that means that any hacker could go into that blockchain and freaking spam the crap out of it and then possibly steal from that blockchain, bring it to its knees. So all blockchains, no exceptions, have a cost in order for you to transact. Now, because Steem is free, quote unquote free, it had the system that we called bandwidth. The way that now we just have a different name for it now. It's called resource credits. So you would say, why did we switch then? Why did we switch? Actually, let me read what Krim wrote, because Krimi is pretty good at explaining stuff, and I'm sure she already has these things written down. But why did we switch to research credits? I'll answer that in a second. So Krim is saying, part of the problem here is that many people misunderstood bandwidth because it didn't really look like a network drain carefully. This is not quite as far from the previous system people may think, but because it wasn't explained carefully before it went in, people are focused on the cost as if it wasn't one in bandwidth. That's basically what I'm saying. The RC system actually allows for better and more accurate use of a stake, both delegated and otherwise. It's also going to allow us for us to be able to show users really simple graphical ways to understand what they can do. It does not mean that having to reset with a patch wasn't devastating, or that it doesn't mean that we have a number now that are pretty weird and scary. What is being seen today isn't the final outcome. It's actually the start of numbers that aren't as far off from the previous as we think, but starting from zero all the way up. And waiting for a recharge makes it hard to see. if you don't have an explanation on what's happening right now in front of you when it does. So yes, so it's not too far away from where it was before. Now, the reason why we are changing to resource credits, like, it's a little hard to explain, but I'll do my best. In order for us to be able to scale, right? In order for the Steem blockchain to become the blockchain, it needs to be able to fine-tune its restrictions, let's call it that, to eliminate bloat. What is blockchain bloat? I don't know if you guys have heard that term before. That means like a bunch of spam on the old bandwidth system, which is being put onto the blockchain with almost no logical way of eliminating it. There was hundreds of bots that brought little to no value to the blockchain, just spamming the blockchain every single day. There's some that are cute, like the haiku thing and all this stuff, but at the end of the day, is that really making the blockchain like be more valuable and all this stuff? I don't know. There's a debate there. So the argument here is that the cost of bandwidth back then was not real, meaning that you could basically still spam the blockchain, right, at a very cheap cost. That is the argument. Now, there's a silver lining to this whole new system, and everybody seems to gloss over this whole thing, which is that the new system is flexible, right? It's flexible. That means that it's a non-consensus system, and that also means that it's going to be tuned in order to maximize user interaction but minimize spam. That's the best way I can explain it. So basically, when people are reading the Steem blog and it says that they're going to 10x the resource credit pool, they think, so what does that mean? It says here that I can make one comment now. So am I just going to be allowed 10? No. You're not understanding at all what it's trying to say. There's a let's call it bandwidth, because I think when we use the word resource credit, it gets confusing. Let's say that there's a limited amount of bandwidth that people can be using. Let's say it's a pizza, right? It's a giant pizza, right? And before, there was some transactions happening, some people eating pizza that brought almost no value to the blockchain, right? They weren't normal activity, they were just spam. And they were taking big chunks of that pizza. 3 or 4 slices for me. Yeah, but they're not human. They're just spammers. And if you guys have never been spammed with memos and all stuff, like, then you must be lucky, because I've been spammed like crazy. This new system is going to allow us to tone that down considerably. But unless you guys are robots, there is no way that a normal human is going to be like, well, I need at least 2,000 comments per day. At least 2,000 comments per day. How am I going to interact? I'm just a little minnow, but I only have 1,000 comments. How am I going to interact? That makes absolutely no sense, because no human is going to do that. So, but why is it relevant that we don't allow bots to do that level of spamming? Because if we are able to create a system that doesn't allow for a little bot to spam 2,000, 3,000 accounts per day, that business, and I'm being very generous when I call it a business, of doing phishing links or whatever it is that they're doing, is not profitable anymore, and we kill it. And that is what's awesome. All right, I'm going to read what Krimi said here, because she's always sharing the little golden nuggets, and I want to make sure that her voice gets heard on the recording, because my recordings, usually the text doesn't look that great. So Krimi says, no moral activity like voting is already back on the same as before, and what we had as norms before were probably too much, unlimited, which is exactly what I'm talking about. So bots could abuse it like crazy, and they were. But this patch is coming to scale back the austerity of the new implementation. And if there is more middle coming to help with that adjustment. The thing is, cost was already there. Bandwidth was the cost, but it didn't work well, and it wasn't a useful metric. Again, it was being abused. But without communication, we're all at where we are. What? It's a huge mistake because of a bug in a few days needed that really clear official communication beforehand. And during and after. None. Oh my god, I need my glasses. Sorry, guys. I'm struggling. Not one of these things has happened, so it's really shitty on that front. The part is not being communicated is that there is no new fee, not a new charge, no costing money or anything like that. People are getting really scared, and that's a fair reaction. The reality is that you will have a bar like bandwidth before. Now it's called RC. While you are doing your day-to-day Steem stuff, you'll be able to look at that bar and see where you're at, or if you should take a break. That's all the system is designed to do, because the bandwidth bar before didn't show that. Same system, more accurate outcome. This is the way everybody is able to do some things, and new users or users with only the original SP delegated will have a more accurate estimate, make the new SOC account, and comment thousands of times a day. It may mean that the new normal is after 15 comments or whatever a day they will have to slow down, but that's fair. It will not stop them from posting, and that's a system that we can tweak. Yes, it will allow us to make more to make sure that new users can still participate. The bandwidth that was supposed to do its job that didn't work very accurately before now actually did help limits. Pretty soon people will just know how to look at two bars, and it is just like a video game. They'll know exactly what they can do without ever having to think about numbers or math or scary things like that. Or, more realistically, nobody will need to know or understand, which has been a huge problem from new users, and it's getting confusing. Alright, so that's a good way to look at it. It's like a video game. I'm pretty sure it's going to be intuitive, but
it's like the life and mana bar in Diablo. It's easy.
Yeah, but what's important about the whole thing, without getting into math, and I am going to show you guys some numbers so you guys do see it, but don't worry, we're not going to do some crazy math that's going to confuse anybody. Is that nobody's trying to, and this is what's key. Nobody's trying to kill engagement, and so everybody who's saying, well, those are prophets of doom, we're saying no, they just want to make sure that minnows can only comment 3 or 4 times a day, so that they're forced to buy Steem power. It's just saying, I don't know where they got that idea from, and it makes absolutely no sense. Most of the work on the blockchain, and I'm going to say this as somebody who, this is going to sound weird, right? I don't even know, it might sound like I'm coming from the left. Maybe Soundwaves is going to flag me. Most of the work, right, that gets done on the blockchain is not done by whales or dolphins. Most of the work is done by little minnows or planktons. I'm talking about the people that are commenting the most, that are posting the most, and all this stuff. So the valuation of the blockchain is very reliant on the little guy. And I think anybody who understands socioeconomics is not going to say otherwise. So it makes absolutely no sense. And they can come from a place of greed for a dolphin or a whale of any size to say, no, we just want whales. We just want investors here. Even if they come from a place of greed, they can't say that. Or they're very ignorant if they come from a place of greed and they say that. So nobody is trying to do that. Nobody with a brain is trying to do that. Now, I am going to show you guys something really quick. I do have a picture to show you to give you an idea of something that is already happening. Let me see, where is Spanish? Here we go. So our dear friend and fellow Helpienaut, Cantos, who is actually hanging out in audio right now too. I was just talking to him earlier today, and I was looking at his account. So Cantos has this relatively small account. I think it's like 40 Steem power or something, right? And I wish I would have taken a picture of his account yesterday, because I want to show you how things are starting to normalize already. This is actually from SteemD, so if you go SteemD/Cantos, I took this screen maybe like an hour and a half ago, 2 hours ago. And you can see already here that it says, well, he can't comment anymore today, but he's going to get 7 after a recharge. Again, he's got like 40 Steem power. He can only do 2 volts left, and I haven't checked it right now, so it might be higher. He can do 3 transfers. But it says on the votes and on the transfers that after recharges, after his bandwidth recharges, he's going to be able to vote 36 times, and he's going to be able to move money or power up 40 times after it's fully recharged. That's what it means. Now, obviously, in the comment section, it only says 7. But what I'm trying to illustrate by showing you this is that if you would have looked at the small accounts yesterday, it would have said something like, oh, you can only vote 1 more time, 3 times after recharge. You can only do 1 transfer or none, because the cost discovery, right, of these transactions, the resource credits, was not there. It was not. It wasn't settling, right? So it basically, in other words, the resource credit cost of these transactions is going down exactly as it should. It's going down exactly as it should. So I can guarantee you, we don't have to do math. I can just guarantee you that I have that image here. In 2 or 3 days, those numbers are going to look really healthy. And it's going to say something like, oh no, Cantos can do, he's got 80 comments left, 150 after recharge. He's got 65 upvotes left, and 120 after it's going to say something of the sort. Now, somebody can tell me, well, man, but that's still limiting. Like, that's still very limiting. Like, you're going to tell me I can only make 150 comments. You make 150 comments a day? You know, so you're telling me like an account that has like 20 or 40 Steem or something like that needs to make 400, 500 comments a day? I mean, are we really being realistic about this? Or we're just going to pretend to be outraged and angry because we want somebody to throw stones at, which is kind of what's happening right now. Now, but so you say, okay, but it used to be so much cheaper. Yeah, I get it, but we also had a problem with spam. So we are trying to get the win-win, which is, okay, let's kill those stupid bots that are doing nothing, right? But let's not kill engagement. And here's the other element. So what we're saying is the price discovery is not completely done, and it's going to get better during the next days. And here's the next part regarding that Steemit blog post that everybody seems to ignore. That is also relevant to the exact part of the conversation we're having right now. So, check this out. This says flexibility. What does that mean? That means that whatever number they are tweaking the pool of resource credits to be at right now, whatever parameters they are tweaking, are non-consensus, meaning that they can change it. You know, they can tweak it. They can, the multiplier that we talked about, the 10, they can do 100, they can do 50, they can do 20, whatever it's required in order for the platform to remain active and in order to not hurt engagement. So the current 10x that they've put, that people are so focused on, they're like, oh my God, what do you mean? Just I only can do 10 comments per day? No, that's not. First of all, we talked about that. That's not what it's saying. It's saying they're incrementing the pool. And the new, with demand and supply, the new cost of transactions is going to be different. It's going to go low because there's going to be more supply. So the price is going to go low, right? And then we're going to find out what the price is of transactions then. But more importantly, this is not set in stone. It's not like, oh my God, that's it. We have to hard fork again. Okay, we need more resources. No, this can be tweaked. So. And that's very important to say because the prophets of doom are actually calling it like, that's it. That's it. So Midos can only comment 10 times a day, and they're supposed to become dolphins doing 10 comments. Who said that? Where did you read that? It is saying that the system is going to be tweaked until we find the right numbers. I do not know what those numbers are, and they might be a thing of personal opinion. But what this system allows us to do, which is exactly what Krimi was talking about. Now we can have charts. We can pull numbers. We can see, oh, with this amount of resources available, did interaction go up or did it go down? It went down? Okay, let's tweak it a little bit more. Okay, with this amount of resources available, did interaction go up or did it go down? It went up. Okay, let's see if we can increase it a little bit more, etc., etc., etc. So we're basically dialing in the system, right? But not at the expense of opening the floodgates to spam. So I guarantee you, and I'm willing to bet money, and I'm broke, that 99.9% of people will not remember these struggles and won't feel a difference at all. And anybody that comes into this platform 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, a month from now, will never know that this happened. It's never going to be like, oh man, you weren't here for the good times, man, when we could engage. That was awesome. We engaged all the time. We used to talk to each other, but now nobody can do it. Now we got to go to Discord. That's not happening. There's absolutely no intent from anybody to do that. There was a patch released last night, and of course this is something that only witnesses are dealing with, that is already doing some other corrections. There's going to be a patch release this weekend. I can guarantee it. And everything regarding this hard fork is going to be corrected slowly but surely. But the goal is not and I'll say this one more time, not to create a pay-to-play system. We don't want that. You don't want that. Not a single witness wants that. Not a single investor wants that. So if you see somebody saying that, I'm not saying insult them, but maybe direct them to actual information, because I don't know where they're getting the whole thing of like, oh, now everybody's expected to buy Steem. Now, here's another deal though. Yes, Hector, you're right. I remember the bandwidth problems. Yeah, when we were having a bunch of people join Steem. This is back in January, February, when the prices of Steem went up, right? All of a sudden, we just had hundreds and thousands of accounts every single week just joining Steem because they wanted to make a quick buck. And we started to suffer some bandwidth problems. Now, I think that taught us a very important lesson, because that meant that the old bandwidth system that we had was not scalable. And this is exactly why this upgrade was necessary. And this is exactly why we're trying to tweak things. Because we talk about like, oh, one day Steem is going to have freaking 20 million or 25 million daily active users. Well, I don't know what the numbers were back then, and I guess I could go check it out, but I'm sure there's some reports I can look at back in January and February. But the amount of bandwidth that you needed to transact in those days, because of the amount of spam and garbage that was on the platform back then, we're talking about like all I had to do press F5 and everything that was on my screen was gone. Like, that's how fast it was. That meant that whatever system we had was not scalable. We could have never gone mainstream, and that is necessary for us to be able to go mainstream. We have to be able to reduce the amount of abuse. It's necessary. Another thing to say regarding this hard fork and why it needed to happen is because we're also, and I think most of you guys know this already, but just in case, we're also implementing Hive Mind and communities, and that's happening very soon. And we're also implementing SMTs, and that's happening, of course, next year. But every single step that we are taking right now is towards that goal. So there are things that right now, this fork, you might just look at and be like, I have no idea why they would do that. That's so stupid. Yes, it may not make sense if you're equating Steem to Steem it, which is something that a lot of people do. But Steem is not Steem it, right? Steem is not Steem it. Steem is supposed to become, no, actually, I'm going to say the right word. Steem will become the backbone for a lot of dApps. And for that to happen, we needed to have a blockchain that was a lot more versatile, that it prevented the amount of spam and bloat we had, and that it was, and because of that, that could be more scalable. So, the nice post comments are down. Yeah. And here's the other deal. If anybody in Helpie, good thing that you're saying that, Warped. Everybody here is having some issues. Like, if you want to make some comments and stuff, let me know. I'll delegate some Steem power to you, and I'm sure in a few days, everything's gonna be fine. So, like, if there's stuff that you need to do, you need to send some money, whatever, and you want to make some comments, some post, just let me know. I'll help you guys. Obviously, that's what we're here to do. So, I haven't been paying attention to chat, so I hope that Creamy, I didn't miss one of her little golden nuggets. But she's been sharing a lot of stuff. So, anyways, guys, I want to open the floor right now, so anybody has questions about what's going on and what's going to happen in the next few days, by all means, shoot. I think everything's going to be fine. I freaking guarantee it. But what's important is that we don't allow misinformation to be spread. So the people that are saying that's it, they just want all minutes to leave. I don't even know what they're saying that, and we need to nip it in the butt, really. It's not helping anybody.
Can I play devil's advocate for a sec?
Go for it.
I don't think there are many people with actual knowledge that will disagree that the hard fork itself and the components contained within are necessary to move forward. I think that can be accepted as fact. Where most people are flipping out is that they do not understand how badly or poorly this could be implemented. They've implemented a hard fork that, took down exchanges, stopped people from posting, set massive debt on everybody. A ton of cascaded effects happened and occurred, and that's where a lot of people are simply getting riled up at. In Yes, Creamy, I can understand that, but also they should have had the foreknowledge to have patches in place immediately to at least get the exchanges up and running through an RC delegation or something like that. The fact that they estimated the new account would start with 3,000 RC and then have bumped it up to 6 million shows a complete lack of foresight in what it actually would take. They have no idea how these numbers are going to play out. It's been mentioned here and it's been mentioned all over the place as well that costs are going to go down. Yet the fact of the matter is, 4 days in, the cost of voting has increased from 2.8 million to 3 million. Everyone hears the fact that it's going to go down. Everyone might believe it, but the evidence 4 days later is not showing that. People are getting more amped up as these things keep happening. When the leaders or developers are saying, don't worry, it's going to go down, but the reality that people can see, touch, hear, and feel is that it's increased, they lose confidence in this. As you said earlier, Steem has not done a very good job of communicating these changes, and that's a major issue as well. When you go through a lot of the posts, some of them started out, well, I mean, let's just ignore all the assholes who just wanted to blow up the world over this. But the people who actually did try and communicate, even if they were hardcore one way or the other, as soon as something started to happen, let's face it, Steem immediately came out and said, oh, HF20, this is a success. Really? 99% of the user base would disagree with that. As soon as complaints started coming out, Ned immediately started to throw other people under the bus. He threw every witness under the bus with his, well, we made a public test net and we did this, and there were witnesses who didn't even do this for 2 days. Sorry, that is not how you handle this. The debacle was on your end. Whether or not the witnesses should have played a greater part, that's irrelevant. This code should have been much more tested, much cleaner.
Leading some gullible people around.
Yeah, exactly, Ron. And that's, you know, you've got a lot of different levels of user understanding here. A lot of these people don't understand anything. I'm not a developer. I just play one on the internet. I can understand a few things about this, but as Kremi pointed out to me earlier, I had something very wrong in what I was saying earlier. She's corrected me. You know, that's great, but the information was not out there to begin with. So as upset as people are getting, they do have reason, and it's not over the contents of this. It's over the implementation and the lack of communication, and I'm sorry, the out-and-out lies and blindness of Steem to recognize what a disaster this has been.
The thing is, like, this would never be in a court like this. Because it's about throwing doubt, throwing, you know, shade on his character to impede his character.
Well, and I mean, I read a post earlier about a user called Freedom, who can basically prop up the witnesses to the top 20 and all that. Now, having said all this, as I said, playing devil's advocate here. Playing devil's advocate, I honestly believe this will all get corrected and there will be no problems very, very soon. Why? Because it's in Steem's best interest. They will lose more money than all the rest of us put together if this doesn't work. Yep. It is in their best interest to resolve this. It will be resolved. That will be the end result. It's just a matter of what the fallout, the damage done to reputation, and etc. will be over this.
Yeah, this is. I don't want anybody to take this as whataboutism, because it's not what it is. But one of the reasons why I still haven't lost faith on the actual Steem on the blockchain is really because of the people that are here. Because look at us, like, we're in here trying to have this discussion, trying to say, hey, listen, this is how we're gonna do it next time, and all this and all that. This has been my first experience with a hard fork. I've taken a lot of these things to heart. I'm making some mental notes and not so mental notes about how the next one will be and what I expect to do myself. You know, like I fully expect me and Eon Warp, because I'm gonna help them, to do our own test on the new testnet when new changes are coming. We're gonna do stuff. I'm gonna do my part of the job because I freaking care, and I think I'm not gonna be the only one who is going to have that mentality, because I freaking care. Now, the reason why I said I don't want this to sound like a whataboutism is that, no doubt, Steem Inc. has had other flops, and some of them even worse. There was one time they drained the pool for a whole month. Nobody made a penny for a whole month. Another time they made a change that made inflation 100%, and all of a sudden doubled everybody's wallet. This is at the very beginning, of course, and it tanked Steem to 7 cents, all the way from $4 when Bitcoin wasn't even $1,000. So if you do the math, people lost in Bitcoin valuation a ridiculous amount of time, amount of money. And here we are. And some of those people that were back then participating on the blockchain are still here today. So there's a lot of emotional investment into the blockchain, into the idea, that is really hard to put a number to. And that's one of the reasons why I believed that we're gonna make it through. Now, as angry as I may be, no, it wasn't like that. It was like that in knowledge, but yeah, no rewards for a month. Imagine that. As tough as this whole thing may be, I think we're gonna get through it. No doubt, the communication is terrible. No doubt, I share your frustration there with the communication thing. One of the things that is frustrating to smaller witnesses, and I know this because I talked to a few of them, are my friends, is that they are basically told, wait to know what the big guys do, and then just follow. But there's also a part of that equation that so many people don't know, and I want to make it perfectly clear. The people that decide the hard forks are. Let me put it this way. I don't know how to word this without it sounding wrong. A witness that is in position 92, 50, even in the 30s, has no say whether hard fork goes through or it doesn't go through. So some people getting angry at the witnesses in the 30-something they do have some valid critiques, because I think everybody who calls himself a custodian of the blockchain could have done a better job at testing the testnet. I get that 100%, but some of the anger of like, oh no, you guys, you approved the hard fork is misinformed, because anybody who was up in the ranks had no control. But on top of that, there's also another element on the top 20 that we have to be able to sympathize about, which is this. There was obviously, I get it, 100% poor planning and what have you, but there are some political elements here at play that we have to be better at surfing. Because if you were to just be and I know it's going to make people angry, and I don't really have a better way to say it, but if you were to just be the one witness on the top 20 and said, no, screw this, not do it, and you don't prepare the land, and you don't have those conversations weeks in advance, and you didn't do all the work prior to, okay, so that's what I'm trying to say. So you didn't spend the amount that you were that on the testnet. You didn't run code. You didn't do all the things that you were supposed to do, and then days before the hard fork, you're like, no, I'm standing around, we're not doing it. You might have been ousted. It might have been ugly. It might have been something terrible that could have happened to that one witness. And I think that that I want to be fair. I don't want to be like, oh, yeah, I want to be fair to them. So here's what I think we could do. And I already had this conversation with Wolf, and I'm having it here with you guys now. And I think this makes a lot of sense. Here's how I think we can find a solution for this whole deal. There is a channel on Steem chat for witnesses, right? And there's a witness social, and there's a witness channel, and they just opened a new one called Witness Support. The way that works right now, there is a Discord channel. I had no idea. And Steem it devs. See, I had no idea. Well, yeah. I honestly think that the way that it should happen from now on, especially moving forward, that we have to happen, is that should be common knowledge. There should be a place on Discord where publications are done, where there's pinned messages, where nobody can write except for witnesses, when everybody that accesses those channels has been vetted to be a witness or a dev. One for socializing, one so that people can read what's going on, but that's it. One closed, all that good stuff, organized perfectly, so that every single witness, no matter what rank, can go in there and be like, okay, what's going on? Let me find it quick and make it happen. if that exists already, please give me the link because I had no idea. Yeah, I had no idea that existed. Test code or no? So the witness test code or no? Should all witnesses have tested? That's my point. Well, yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. I think that and I'm not going to start naming names, but I think that a few witnesses were too comfortable. And I'm not talking about top 20, by the way. I'm talking about in general. And I'm not saying that Ned is perfect or anything like that. Of course, we know. Like I'm not on Steem and Inc. side either. Everybody made mistakes. But what I mean by saying too comfortable is that I saw some comments that I didn't like, saying, "Well, like I'm not even a witness that that is in the top 50. So why should I even care? Like why should I test anything? Why should I even do anything?" And I was like, "Oh, you know what? Yeah, I guess I understand your position, but like if we're all gonna do this, if we're all gonna demand better communication, and we're all gonna demand things are documented better, so that we can follow and a testnet to be available to us as soon as possible, but at the same time we're just passing the potato, then I don't understand the position because it's not consistent." Yeah, that's basically it, Ian. If you're a witness, I don't think it matters if you're at the top or not. That means that you care about the blockchain and you're a custodian. That's the way I see it. Shane. If you're not worried, why should I be worried enough to... Yeah, I like it. Shane, can you get on the microphone for a second? Let me ask you questions.
Yeah, hi.
Shane, in your opinion, let's do some constructive criticism. Even though I'm sure you've read already some posts, but let's brainstorm. Like, what do you think? How do you think that I'm saying the community, could communicate a lot better what's going on, and how do you think that every single witness on the Steem blockchain can participate of the testnets, can participate of that months prior to the hard fork? Do you have any ideas that you say, this is how we do it? Have you thought about that?
Yeah, I've thought about that a little bit, and I think what it comes down to is there's not a central area to get your information from for the normal user. I mean, of course, there is Steemit blog, but that is the official, company line information. I don't know of an account or a resource where everybody knows where to go to get what the witness's thoughts are overall. And something like that may mitigate some of this fear and panic that's going on that we're hearing right now.
Yep. Yeah, I'm pretty much echo that sentiment. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Like, I didn't know the Steemit devs had like a section for witnesses, but I'm thinking that has to be taken to a next step. Maybe not just in Steemit devs, but like or maybe in there. It doesn't matter. Like a place where people do just that. Here's what the witnesses are working on. This is the newest patches. Bots could be made for notifications. The testnet was on a Steemit post. Yeah, well, I get that, but I guess my point is, yeah, I didn't see that. I actually experimented on the testnet, actually, me and Eon, but we didn't do it enough. But
no, I think the question, Crimmy, is not necessarily why our witness is not watching that, but I took that, Menno, as more of a question of the general user. Where can they go to get what the witnesses are thinking at the time? Am I wrong on that?
Oh, well, yeah, that too, because here's the deal. Like, people tend to spread negative information a lot faster than they do positive. So, like, especially when you have bigger accounts that are saying things, I'm not going to name names, but you guys can probably figure it out. Like, that's it. It's going to kill my program, and I said Steemit is go to zero, and all the things I've been working on, nobody can, making posts calling for the end, and it's a big account, and I'm going like, what's going on? Like, how do we kill the FUD? Really need to kill the FUD with information.
Right. No, yeah, Crimmy, you're correct. I did see that there was a testnet, and I saw that, I don't know how long ago. It's been quite a while. Yeah, I knew about it, and like I said, I did not test, and I really don't have a good excuse why I didn't test. I mean, I don't know whether you can say time, just didn't think twice about it. It's whatever the reason. I know on the next one, when something new comes up, I've learned my lesson. I'm going to test and make my voice heard. Not that at number 167 right now it makes much of a difference, but later down the line, it very well might.
Well, I agree with what Eon said. Anybody who is a witness, it doesn't matter your rank, should probably have that same level of commitment. So, I obviously I'm not going to impose the way I think on anybody else, but when new things are being implemented, if I need to learn how to do something that is extremely difficult, who cares? I'm going to do it because I'm going to do my part. And like I said, me and Eon, we were messing with the test net. We did that for like what, 30, 40 minutes. And then we both were like, oh, wait, this is not working. Oh, this is not working. Oh, this is not working either. And we left it there. And now I want to kick myself in the butt because maybe I should have made a list of everything that wasn't working and just bring it up to Tim Cliff and be like, hey, listen, these are the things that we were messing with in Helpie, and I don't know what's going on. But hindsight is always 20/20. My point is that I am going to make a personal commitment to not let it happen again. And
so, was there a place for the witnesses to all get together for their testing and talk about what was going wrong?
Not necessarily. I did not know that this happened on the Steem Dev Discord channel. I am not part of the Steem Dev channel. I am going to now. I'm going to join. I had no idea, but now that I know that it's in there, I intend to get involved. But I honestly think that that a lot of things could be done. Like we could do a lot of really cool things to make this really really easy to really hard to mess up. Like bots that do reminders, have like some sort of bulletin board where things like, if you're a witness, it notifies you. These are the dates where things need to be launched. A place where you can leave notes to other witnesses that you don't have to scroll up for like freaking, 20 minutes to find some useful information. Because as much as I appreciate Steam Chat, and I do, some of the things that I've learned from Steam Chat, I'm joining right now. Let me click on that. Some of the nuggets of really valuable information that I found on Steam Chat. Well, I guess I'm banned. I can't join. I don't know what's going on.
Well, it would seem to me that there should be one central place in the future where people are discussing the testing.
Yeah.
Discussing what's going wrong with it. And overall, I would think that there needs to be just a central place where people could get answers from witnesses so people aren't in the dark about these things.
Yeah, and then that place could have a particular section where the common folk can read what's going on, so they stay informed, and just listen to the official communication from witnesses, which I think is another way that we kill the FUD. Because what happens is, I'm gonna say something that's gonna sound like very dickish of me, but this is how the brain works. Oh, this person has money, then this means that this person knows and that person is smart. That's how we equate money in society. So there's a big difference if a little tiny plankton says something completely uninformed and ridiculous about how the whales want to make this an elitist platform, so only for the rich, because that one is like, whatever, who is that guy? But a high rep with a big wallet says that, and it just creates a freaking fire of panic, and putting those out becomes really complicated. This morning I was a bit exhausted talking to people because they're DMing me, asking me what's going on. And like, oh no, I'm having to repeat myself, and that's okay. That's part of the gig, and I'm not bitching. That's not what I'm trying to say. My point is that didn't need to happen. We didn't need to get to that point where everybody's thinking that they're getting kicked out of the platform, and it was coming from big accounts, so. Farasim is here. So now everybody's going to get flagged. Well, anyways, guys. Oh, and Mark is here. Awesome. So anyways, that's kind of the reason for this little meeting today. We're not really doing a shilling party or anything of the sort. I really wanted to put these things on the table, and hopefully you guys are walking away feeling like some hopium, really, because that's really what I would like for everybody to feel. Saying like, because we are going to work this through. Everything's going to be fine. It's going to take us a little more. And yes, I get it. Hindsight is always 2020. There was a lot of fuck ups, and I get it 100%. But we're moving forward. And like I was telling you guys, there is no way for us to go back to hard fork 19. That's not going to happen. We just need to move forward. More patches are coming. 20.4 is already out. I think I saw most people already on it. Yeah. So yeah, I think all. Yeah, there's like 3 top 20s who don't have it still. So you're going to see the cost of resource credits going down more. That is going to happen.
Do we know where they are with the RPC node? Because
I don't know. I just saw Mark say that it's not out yet. No, just Mark, can you talk for a second?
We know where it is, but I don't think I have the liberty to say that. But it's soon.
Gotcha. Thanks.
Soon TM?
Soon without the TM.
Soon as in tonight, as
Yes,
in
tonight.
US, or soon as in tomorrow?
Tonight is what the plan is.
Thanks.
Okay, cool. So I can almost, like, if I was a betting man, I can tell you guys that I'm pretty sure by this time next week, this whole thing is going to be in the past. Nobody's going to be talking about this anymore, and everybody's going to be fine. But let's get through the bump. Let's get through the weekend. And like I said, if there's somebody right now that needs some help, that especially the little accounts are like, oh, I needed to move some SBDs and I don't have enough resource credits. Let me know. Eon also offered. I'll delegate you a little bit of SP so you can make it happen. And don't worry about it. Everything's going to be fine. As long as everybody is here, as long as the community stays together, we're going to be fine. And if Steem has survived the pool being broken for a whole month, and it survived the freaking dropping to 7 cents before, and it survived all, 2 blockchain halts and all this stuff, it's going to survive this one too. Because for all the fuck-ups we may have, we are still here. And the core of the community is always, has been, and is always going to remain strong as long as we are still here. Hey Ferrisim, can you talk for a second? Do you have a microphone? Because you're an opinionated flagger. I don't know if Ferrisim is fake newsing me or if he can really hear me. But he has an interesting story with Hard Fork 17.
I can flag you, but I'm not a talker.
No. Can you tell the Hard Fork 17 story a little bit, just for perspective, because people weren't here for that time. Yeah, because I'm talking about one.
No, I'd prefer to rather not to get to think about that. It's happy it's over. I'm sad it's similar again, and we'll see what happens. So if we get that pressure, or I don't know. What you said is good. I don't know. I don't wanna.
You don't want to FUD? You're not gonna FUD. I guess my point.
No, it's not FUD. It's just we have since 2 days we only have this topic, and everything's been said and written. Really, I think I don't want any more.
Got you. Well, and anyways, Ferrisim is a veteran. He survived already a few wars, and he's been here, I think, from the beginning. So, if anything, the fact that he's here should give you an indication that everything's gonna be fine, because he survived the ugliest parts. Yeah. He's an OG. Anyways, guys, the forum is open. If you guys want to ask stuff, we are lucky. We have a bunch of witnesses here right now, so they can clear any doubts. Crimson has been doing, as always, an awesome job putting little golden nuggets of information there, but I may have missed some questions because I don't do that great reading as I am talking. So it's open. If you guys have concerns, have questions, or we can... Wolf was texting in the wrong chat. Did you want to say something, Wolf?
No, not really, but I was just letting everyone know that I was on the wrong chat.
Ah, okay. Yeah, well, this meeting has been recorded. If you feel that somebody could benefit from this conversation to understand what the whole thing, why we hard forked, why there's resource credits now, the whole idea behind scalability, and how this is a stepping stone in order for us to get to Hive communities and for us to get to SMTs, by all means you can share it. I'm going to upload it to YouTube. I'm probably going to put it in a post under Helpie, but of course, if you just want to share the YouTube, that's fine too. You don't have to share Helpie posts. Yeah, what is that? Is that your account, Zippy? Yeah, so your account's recovering. Yeah, so unless you are a robot, look, that's already a bunch of comments you can make. Yeah.
You can
It
sell
said that
comments.
last night. 100 plus on all of them. Is that just broken or something?
No, that's how many comments you can make in a 5-day period till you
Okay.
exhaust your RC.
That's a
But
lot.
that's going to go down a lot tonight. So it's mostly the people that have less than 100 SP that are getting hit the hardest. Everyone
Right.
got hit with the lack of Steem, voting power in the Steem or the RCs early on, but most people should be fairly able to do stuff, except for the people that are like 100 or less, or maybe even 200.
I
But the
haven't had
voting power
any
just
problem.
takes time.
I haven't had any problem commenting or posting. It's just upvoting that I can't really do.
You can't upvote?
Well, I gave one upvote and it dropped me from SteamD said I was at 100%, and then I
Yeah, see, that's
upvoted
just-
Clayboins.
That's just
and
a
it
UI
dropped
issue.
me to 20.
That's just a UI issue. That's not actually dropping. What happened is the way voting power is calculated, because it's a blockchain, they can't constantly update the blockchain with everyone's voting power. So what it does is it puts the voting power whenever you make a vote, and then it puts a timestamp. And then as time goes on, if you don't do anything, say 100 blocks or a day, it's going to just calculate from there. But since it hasn't, it's going to show a different number, and it's not going to be accurate. So next time you vote, boom, that gets updated. So what you're seeing is the old metrics that SteamD used to use to calculate the voting power, and then the actual blockchain updating when you do a vote and actually fixing it to what it really is. So unless if you were absent for 5 days prior to the fork and didn't do anything, most people got reset to 0. So
Yeah,
at this point, most people should be in the 60s, 60% range.
Yeah, I
back
understand.
the
I
first
understand,
day,
Priscilla, that it happened to everyone. I'm not confused about that at all. I just thought that voting for until it had basically regenerated was somewhat pointless because the
No,
value
it's
of my
not.
vote right now is so shit.
it's
It
not
seems-
pointless, but the lower people have as SP, it will hurt a lot because a 3-cent vote when it's 100% turns into a lot less when it's 50%. But I made a post yesterday basically saying people should vote. Vote as normal. Just vote 50% if you want. As much 50% as power as you normally would. If you do 100% votes a day, do 50% votes. That'll still allow you to recover. It'll take an extra day and a half or so, but you'll still be able to support people, still be able to engage, still be able to participate, and the RC system will still be able to learn, and you'll still recover because you're not using as much voting power, using half as much. And you can recover 20% a day, so it will take 5 days from when the fork happened for most people to get to 100%. But you just have a smaller vote. It's not a big deal. I mean, it sucks everyone lost voting power. I'm not saying that's not a big deal. I'm just saying it's not a big deal to vote with less voting power. Just
Except
use
for
smaller votes.
I don't like giving dust votes that below
Yeah.
2 cents.
That I understand completely, and that is a problem with people with votes that will get them below dust. That does suck. If it's a post, it's not a big deal because it gets added to everyone else's vote, so it won't be a dust vote. If it's a comment, you can use Dust Sweeper, and that'll bring it up to a payoutable version of that. But yeah, I wouldn't dust vote comments. It's not going to help anything. But I understand the frustration. Everyone is.
I'm
really
not frustrated actually at all. I've been so busy. I just haven't. I just kind of taken a break. But I made a post the other night, not even thinking about that. That's not why I post. I just wanted to record the absurdity of my weekend, and I didn't even think about the fact that it wouldn't really be getting upvotes. I did get, P-Funk is he's probably my most solid supporter, and he usually drops a pretty generous upvote on there. And he gave me like a 25% upvote, but coming from P-Funk, even 25% was like 40 cents or something.
Yeah, it's going to take a while. I think we have, for most people, you're talking about another day and a half to 3 days to be at 100%. But you don't have to wait till 100%. voting at 50%, voting at 80% is not a problem. As long as you're not going over the 20% a day, you'll still be recovering. You could still support people, but with a smaller vote, yes, it is hard. And you might want to wait till you're 100% if you're in that
I mean,
situation.
I just figured I would let it regenerate and then start behaving as normal.
Yeah.
Just let it do its thing.
I would agree. But if you do have a bigger vote, like 10, 20, 30 cents, I wouldn't hesitate to vote. I mean, just don't vote as heavily as you normally.
I think at 100%, I was only like 14 cents to begin with. So, you know, I didn't have very far to drop.
Yeah. But you should be over 60% at this point, right?
Yeah.
All right, so that puts you in a 7-cent vote. So you can do like a 50% vote and give her 3 cents, you know?
Yeah.
But I understand if you want to wait, and that's perfectly fine. What I was seeing before, though, is everyone's waiting, and that's not going to help the RC system learn how to process things. And you could still vote 10, 50% votes and still gain half as much speed as you did before by not voting. So you're not sacrificing a ton. You know, you'll still be increasing your voting power every day. It's just not as much, but you'll still be participating. And the last thing we need is a bunch of people taking a 5-day vacation right now and not voting, not participating, and doing that, because it's going to be much harder to keep people engaged when they come back. That's what I'm trying to avoid.
Yeah.
Thanks for the info.
Yeah, I think that's kind of stupid too. Like I can understand somebody saying, "Oh, I'm not gonna write 4 or 5 posts a day." Like there's some people that are crazy that do that, like Taras and all that. But if you're like, okay, that's it. Like I'm not gonna do anything for Steem in 5 days. I don't know. That's very short term thinking, in my opinion. You know, there's no reason why you can't continue to engage and continue to, you know, write or comment and all that stuff. And I think everybody should. Like, not everything is measured in dollars. That's all I'm gonna say. Not everything is measured in dollars. But, well, anyways, guys, again, if there's more questions, I know Gray keeps on saying some stuff, and I read you, Gray, but Crimson's gonna send you some links so you can read about it, because I think there's a little misunderstanding there, how the RCs are supposed to work, and how before we didn't have such thing as cost. There's always been bandwidth. That's not a new thing. It's just a new way of calling it bandwidth. We don't call it bandwidth anymore, and now it's tweakable. You know, now they can try to cut on spam. And if we were ever, the important thing to understand, if we were ever going to scale, which is the point, we needed to find a way to kill bloat, and that's really the idea. But anyways, guys, if that is going to be it for the recording itself. Obviously, everybody can stay here and keep on having a conversation, unless somebody has another question and they want the witness to answer. We got a few of them here. So
I'm willing to answer any questions if anyone has anything.
Yeah, I was told that it was automatic with all the witnesses, at least the top 20s, where they set their creation fee 3 and 6 and whatnot. Mine never kicked over automatically to anything. It stayed where I had it set. So I'm kind of curious if they are going to drop that back down, or is that just like a Steem at Inc. thing? They say, hey, this is where we want it to be, and do all the witnesses have to accept that? I'm kind of lost on that.
What you need to do is you have to set it manually. What was supposed to happen is all witnesses were supposed to be updated automatically. Unfortunately, due to a bug, only the top 20 got updated automatically. So if you just go in to do a witness update in the CLI, or however you update your witness normally to change your key, just go in there and set it to 3 or 6 or whatever you feel is appropriate.
Gotcha. Thanks, bro.
No problem.
I have one question. I think Hector was doing the same question as well. When you read your resources, it says you have approximately 10 comments or 2 comments, but it doesn't say how long those comments can be. Does it take the same if it could be 1 comment with 1,000 words, or it could be 10 comments with 1 word? Do they cost the same? I'm not really sure how they do the calculation of comments, taking into account the amount of characters.
The characters are taken into account, but it's a small part of the equation. The equation is mostly the blockchain size and the processing power and stuff like that. The size is a small factor, and I don't think that's going to make a big deal. The problems are comments are very expensive right now, and they vary dramatically. And what you see in SteamD is not even remotely accurate. For example, SteamD will probably tell you 14 billion is how much it costs to make a comment. But my popcorn bot is dead. It has 7.5 voting power, 7.5 Steam power, and it says it needs 26 billion to make a comment, which means it needs 12.5 Steam power to make one comment every 5 days. So even at 10x, it's going to make 5 comments every 5 days. So that is not quite accurate, but I think the size isn't as big of a concern.
And
if you make a huge one, it may add it a little bit, but I think most of it is going to be the processing power and the blockchain state size and all that stuff.
And another thing that I heard, I don't know if they are fake news, because there is a lot of misinformation around, but it was just like it cost a lot to edit a mistake from a comment already made. I tell it because I'm the typo queen, and I usually am very picky about leaving a typo, so I tend to edit sometimes, but you know, someone told me they're now editing a comment to correct a typo. It is even more expensive than a comment itself or something like that. It could be fake news, I'm not really quite sure. It is just like the gossip, the hard gossips around that you listen here and there.
I'm not sure on that one. I don't think it's that expensive. I think comments are what really cost a lot. Voting and everything else is fairly cheap. Changing a password is expensive. I'm not sure about editing. I did see something about editing costing a lot. But
editing technically is writing a new post. There is a bit more information inside, so it's very well possible that it's a bit more expensive than writing the original comment.
It's definitely possible. I can check, but I don't know offhand.
Yeah, I think that is a problem. Editing a post afterwards is going to cost the same resource cost as it did to post the original post.
Yeah, I usually edit my posts 4 or 5 times for spelling because I'm horrible at it, and each time I'm finding I'm charged the full amount again.
But can I ask another question quick?
Sure, but I'll
Mark?
test that and get back to you. But I'm not sure offhand, but I can check.
Yeah, please do. And do you know the reason why comments making comments is relatively so expensive? Is that because that was the most abused part of the Steem blockchain before the hard fork?
I haven't looked at the formula. I believe it's mostly the state and the fact that it gets tied to each post and has to load. A good example is when you load a post that has a ton of comments. For example, the Byte Ball announcement, it's virtually unusable. The site will not load. It'll take like 5 minutes to load that post.
Yeah, that's true too.
So I think the comments are just really expensive on the blockchain in terms of processing power and state and all that stuff. And they get tagged with each post and the link in between them. So I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah, makes sense.
What I think, this is a speculation. I don't know. I'm just speculating what might have happened too. I think that since when we switched to the new hard fork, a lot of the calculations were done for the balances prior to the taking into account the time prior to the hard fork 20. Since the blockchain was very spammy back then with all the gajillions of bots doing all the stuff that they would do, maybe that brought it up artificially so. The cost of comments, so meaning that the average is coming down, or will come down, as it normalizes, because we're not going to have 400 haiku comments, for example, on just that one bot every hour or whatever it is that it was doing. So that's speculation. I don't know. I'm just using some logic there, but. Eon, are you going to say something? You're turning on.
Oh, wait, that's weird. It locked? Sorry about that.
But do you know an answer to the comment thing? If it, am I onto something there with that logic? Because it took into account the hard fork 19 time period and added all those to the cost. So basically it made demand higher artificially than actual real engagement.
I don't think it's based on that. I think it's strictly based on the thing is, like, they have a table, right? And that table has like kind of a fixed base cost plus, and then it adds in like the size and bytes of the transaction, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And then it evaluates that along the price curve.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I can show you the exact file that shows you the relative cost, but there's a lot more to it that's not in there.
Well, yeah, the more content is in a transaction or in a comment, the more it costs resources to keep it in RAM, to keep it in storage, to provide it. Content is the most expensive thing on the Steem blockchain.
Yeah. And the thing that you have to keep in mind that posts are comments. On the blockchain, they're called comments. Posts and comments are exactly the same thing. There's no difference between the two of them.
Yeah, that is true.
That's one thing that you have to keep in mind. That
the transaction for a comment is a bit bigger than the transaction for a post with the same content.
Oh yeah, I did not know that.
Yeah, but they're stored as comments in a database or in the blockchain and how they're represented.
Yeah, but the comment has to have a pointer back to the parent, and the parent itself has not. So comment is more data.
That makes sense.
That makes sense. I didn't think about that. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, but I don't.
Here's the file that represents all the sizes for things and how they calculate. Oh, actually, no, this one might not be it. No, let me find it. It's hard to find, and there's another one that has it.
Well, all right, guys, we're going into nerd territory big time, and it's not that I mind. I don't mind. I actually love this stuff, but I think a lot of people here are gonna get just more confused. So, yeah, if there's any more questions regarding the stuff that you wanted to be explained in layman's terms, take advantage of the fact that Farasim's here, Mark is here, and me too. I'm very happy to learn. But if we start going into code, and you go like as you can see here on the authority account member size is calling for an 18 for going to code. I think everybody's just gonna start yawning. So
No. This file is basically a table of like here's the action, like vote, and here's the amount in. Well, but you still can't compute the full cost of it, but it gives you a rough idea.
Yeah.
Gotcha. This is fixed. Yeah, fixed values. I see it here.
It gives you a relative for the actual operation, but there's more to it. But
yep.
All right. Cool beans. Well, anyways, guys, more questions, or we are calling it a recording, and so if no more questions in chat, nobody wants to say something. Yeah, we're still recording.
Well, not a question, but I do want to say to all the witnesses present, thank you very much for your devotion and your time and energy in putting all of this together and explaining it for us laymen. It is much appreciated when witnesses can dumb it down for the normal people.
No
yes,
problem.
I second that motion.
All right, guys. Well, you've been listening to the voice of Menno, and today a bunch of people have spoken. The Marky Mark, which is one of the witnesses, Farasim, also another witness. We had ZYX, Winston, one of the awesome Helpinauts. Eon Warped was also speaking. Actually, how effective the bots will be. Yes, a lot of bots have died, officially died. That's exactly what this fork did. But
they're
that's
just sleeping until they're 100%.
They're sleeping until things normalize. But yeah, if you think this recording is helpful, if you want to share it with somebody, go ahead. I am going to call this a little meeting done. Thanking everybody who showed up for having this conversation with me, and hopefully everybody's walking away a little more hopeful with some hopium, as I call it, from this convo. This is the voice of Menno, and signing out.